to you live with another episode. Basically, this is 5 minutes or less media review, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about my problems with anime. But before we do that, let's examine a show that I think has started off quite nice, on the right path towards giving us a good story, while at the same time using the materials, the modern day materials, to help channel that story. So let's just stop and look at this trailer. I'm just gonna play it, and then we can just enjoy this together, and then hopefully we chop it up.
せめて童貞くらい卒業したかった。あ、マルジまだ生きてやがる。てかここはどこ？病院じゃない？
Please notice how very endowed this woman is. This is not something animation should continue.
なんか。もしかするとここは。いや。ここは地球ではない別の世界だ。剣と魔法の世界だ。ルーデウス？どうやら俺は生まれ変わったらしい。はい、ルディは本が好きだから。ありがとうございます、母様。男なら心の中に一本の剣を持っておかねばならん。魔術にも歴史がある。
And you see this again? Perversion. Perversion. Nobody. I just don't understand what anime is doing, or the people creating it. They need to have standards. Seriously, they need to have standards. This character we've seen too many times as anime watchers. In all the modern animation, we continue to see stupid characters like this, where the woman is angry and very disrespectful, and then eventually she tries to sleep with the main character. We've seen this character before. As you can see, it looks like he's dealing with an adult problem. So as a result of that, he's utilizing his abilities in a certain way. Let's continue. Again, problems with anime is that they put too many furry animals into the animation. I do not like this furriness. Normally, you're supposed to be putting furries if you're dealing with situations whereby, you want to increase the variety of characters. But these furry animals have become a sexual kind of interest in all these animations. They always use them as some way to be sexually provocative or something like that. So watch out for it. An adult. You have an adult here. Why is an adult here in a situation that involving kids? The same thing with that furry animal. It's all a situation whereby this kid is now maybe trying to fight adults. Let's keep watching. You notice that? Okay. You also notice the lady in the purple hair. She looks like a kid, right? But that's a wizard, right? That's what we call a typical lolly. Alright? Some cute little, oh, I'm how many years old? I'm 20 years old, but I'm as cute and small like a little girl. That should not continue to infest animation. It needs to leave. Seriously. There she is again. Okay, she has blue hair here, but it's the same thing, the same lolly. Okay, some kind of a sexual interest for the guy or whatever it is. I just don't know how it's gonna play out. But in this show, she's his teacher, and to some degree, I think it's a lolly. Okay? There you go. They're making it even more clear. Now, if you guys notice anything about the show, like throughout the whole scenes, you will notice one thing. You do not see this Rudy of a character growing up. And that's a problem that I have with animes just like this. They want to create kids solving adult problems. This kind of behavior shouldn't fly. Now, in the early age, when I first started getting into animation, I watched animation for one big reason, and that is stories. Many films back in the day were lacking good stories, sound stories. Or should I say that a lot of people moved away from certain stories because they didn't have the tools needed to tell those stories. Here comes animation. Animation gives you the tools to tell your stories how you want to, without limitation. Not really without limitation, but within a budget constraint, perhaps. I'll put it that way. Okay? It gives you an opportunity, a medium for you to tell a good story without feeling limited in what you can do. But animation, because of, how would I put it now? Not a lot of people looking into animation. Too many people have started diving into all this sexual freakiness. Okay? Too many of these sexual, how do I put it now? Inappropriate things have started showing up in animation. Now, my biggest concern is that when it comes to the mangas and this animation, the biggest consumers are young men. Okay? And for a lot of young guys in today's society, many of them don't have good male role models to help them understand and process what they are watching, what is appropriate, what isn't appropriate, and how to deal with those kind of situations. You know, I say in our world today, we've been desensitized to two things here: violence and sex. We see it so much that many of the times it's hard for us to recognize that this is the same message we are getting. Okay? So, what are my problems with animation of today? My biggest problems, okay, has to do with a couple of things, and I'm going to list them. The first part is the story. The story is suffering nowadays. They don't know how to create good stories. Okay? The second part is a male with multiple women. They call it a harem. One male to multiple women. And what this male does is that he strings this woman along, and at the same time they're in love with him. The third thing is, too many of the women in these shows are big-breasted. They're well endowed in the front department. And we already know that that shouldn't be a theme, especially amongst this kind of women. It's just a way to, how would I put it, exercise their sexual frustration to some degree, I think. The fourth part is demon lord kind of situation, whereby you have a demon lord who is ruling the world in such a chaotic way, or a demon lord who is a good person. I just don't understand how that should even be possible. Alright? The fifth part kind of ties in with the storyline, which is basically, it's a direct copy and paste of the manga. Now, I have a problem with that because the mangaka or the mangeki, or whatever it is you want to say it as, is basically trying to draw all these lists of pictures in a way to get certain things done a little bit faster. And so when you take when you're looking at a manga, you have to fill in mentally a lot of the information that the mangaka is not putting in. Unfortunately, many of the directors don't know how to take scenes from the manga and properly adapt them to tell a good story. The sixth one will be amateur sword play. As you can see in this show, there's going to be a lot of sword play. Okay? And you're going to see people flying, jumping. Like, they're going to be jumping like crazy men. I hate that kind of stuff. People need to be on the ground. People need to create all these sword fighting acts in such a realistic way. I'm tired of people slicing off a whole mountain. For crying out loud. Swords are not meant to do that. I don't care what kind of chakra you have, or what kind of mantra, whatever you have. I don't care. Keep it within the normal realm, or keep it within the capability of that sword. And if the sword is going to cut down a mountain or another sword, you should at least have a visible impairment as it does that. You know. Last but not least, furry animals. Too many furries occupy these kinds of shows. And I'm tired of it. Because to me, they are a form of sexual representation. That's how I look at it. Especially when, you know, I started looking into, what do you call it again? These people who normally meet with furry clothing and so on and so forth. I just heard about them not too long ago. And to think that many of them are in Japan. This thing has to stop, please. Stop infesting our minds with all list of sexual deviances that you guys have over there. Now, I know it's an adult. An adult has to decide on what they want to accept and so on and so forth. I can get it. I can understand it. I can respect it, people. But please, stop infesting the animation. Just like I would ask movies nowadays to stop infesting our movies now with all this political messaging. The same thing with animation. Stop infesting it with this nonsense. Okay? Now I'm going to look at some of the problems that I've basically listed here. And I would try to at least pick on at least, let's just say 4 of them. And then hopefully we can continue this conversation in the comments below. But the first one, which is just directly in front of us, is a child occupying a male or an adult role, okay, or an adult thinking pattern. And I think they established that here. The guy dies, he comes back into the body of a child with an adult thinking behavior. But I want you guys to watch this, okay? This guy is not going to be an adult for long. He's an adult with an adult thinking behavior, but he's not going to be an adult for long. Sooner or later, he's going to start acting like a child. He's going to start acting like a kid. So all that whole nonsense they gave to you early on in the beginning is just a way for them to act out their sexual deviances or whatever it is. And I'm sure this guy has some crazy psychological problems. But I'm tired of anybody who is less than the age of 18 going out into the real world and trying to save it from some kind of stuff that's about to happen. I'm tired of children occupying adult roles. I'm tired of too many children in these shows acting like adults. They are not adults, please. We need to get back adults into animation. The next part is going to be the male to a harem of women. I cannot stress this enough. Almost every Japanese anime has one male who's going around sleeping with multiple types of women. He's not even sleeping with them. He's just stringing them along. Right? And this harem of women will always include a furry animal, number 1. Okay, a furry animal with cute ears. Number 2, it will always consist of a small little girl that based on the animation that I'm seeing is no older than 8 years old, which is to me pedophilia. I'm tired of this pedophilia nonsense. I'm tired of it. And it needs to go. We need to find a way to boycott this nonsense. Okay? If you were showing me one male to adult women around him, fine. But this is not one male with adult women around him. This is one small male or one male or even grown up. The one that even irks me out is the one that the man is clearly drawn as an old man who is dealing with small little kids that are barely even tall enough to reach the midsection, okay, his waist, basically. They're not even tall enough to touch his waist, and yet he's having a relationship with them. This is insulting, people. Really insulting. I call that a harem. That is not a good way to represent situations like this to the kids who are watching this and don't have anybody by their side to explain what is going on. This pedophilia thing has gone on for far too long and it needs to stop. Okay? The next point actually ties into this. As you can see in that show that I just showed to you guys, there are a lot of big-chested women. Big-chested women. Too many of them are well endowed. Now, have you gone to Japan before? Have you seen any of the women that well endowed? I think a lot of these Japanese people are just crazy about big chest. And because their women don't have it most of the time, they will rather draw it. I'm tired of it. To some degree, I'm thinking it's making a lot of these Japanese women feel like as if they're not adequate. Okay? It needs, this thing needs to go. These big-chested women, not a lot of women, even here in the United States, actually have that. It needs to go, please. You know? Because it's no longer used for storytelling or helping us to identify characters. It's now used as a sexual representation. That's what it is. Okay? And then the biggest gripe that I have in this whole thing, I'm going to try and keep my argument short, is a direct copy of the manga. So what the directors are doing is basically they look at the manga, which is supposed to be, okay, a picture book, a storybook, a storyboard for whatever show they want to run. Right? And they carry it directly, they lift it up directly from the manga and just place it into the anime. That's laziness, people. And I want you guys to go and watch the 1997 Berserk. Okay? Go and watch that show. You see, scenes are being moved around, things are being moved around to create a good story. The 1997 Berserk created a far more excellent story than the 2000 Berserk. Okay, the 2000 and whatever 10 or whatever it is cannot even stand to the 1997 one, which had very bad animation, was poorly animated, but still the story was incredible. Every single year I make my run of the whole Berserk 1997 anime. Every single year I make a run of it, of my best animes. I make a run, I watch all of them. I take my time to watch each and every episode to keep it fresh at the back of my mind, because I enjoy the way it is made. I can barely touch the 2010 one because I can't stand it. But anyway, I've been rambling on about this animation stuff. I know that my words are not going to change anything, but if we don't start a discussion today, it will be very difficult for us to actually get a solution for tomorrow. Okay? So let's continue this conversation in the comments, and hopefully we can create videos to basically tackle this issue, because it's one thing that we're not all talking about. We're just basically just consuming all the nonsense that these people keep pushing in front of us. We are now holding them accountable for their incompetency. We need to make sure that they focus on creating good animation. And to some degree, I'm thinking that because of this Netflix giving a lot of people money to create animations, these individuals are just trying to grab animation, trying to grab money by creating all this nonsense animation, and it needs to stop. We need to cut it off. All right. So I've been your host, man. 5 minutes or less media review, and I gotta sign out. So it's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you for everything, and hopefully I'll see you guys on the flip side. All right, bye.